What if you had to act, think, and breathe like your enemy? That's what some Israelis do for a living. That is, they pose as Palestinians. Their disguises include dressing up as elderly men or Palestinian women cradling pretend babies. During protests, they join crowds, chanting and throwing stones at the soldiers. Their strategy is to draw in other protesters and get closer to the army. And when the time is right, they suddenly begin arresting the Palestinians they were chanting and protesting next to just moments ago. And many times these arrests turn bloody. Musta'rib is an Arabic word, which refers to someone who specializes in the Arabic language or culture, or someone who lives among Arabs or becomes Arab, although not actually Arab themselves. And Musta'ribeen is its plural. In the context of Israel, Musta'ribeen, or its Hebrew derivative Mista'avrim, refers to an undercover unit of the Israeli Defense Forces, made up of Israeli spies that disguise themselves as Arabs and infiltrate Palestinian territories. They use their weapon, disguise and surprise, to, quote, catch terrorists. The Mista'avrim unit was first established in 1942 before the State of Israel came into being, and soldiers in this unit are trained to think and act like Arabs in order to blend in with the Palestinians while carrying out what they call counterterrorist operations. This way, they can gain access to Palestinian territories they normally couldn't as Israeli Jews.
It's hard, first of all, but you have to be an amazing actor.
Musta'ribeen learn to speak Arabic, including its Palestinian variation, as if it's their first language. They dress up like Palestinians, donning the keffiyeh, they adopt Palestinian expressions, mannerisms, and etiquettes. But Musta'ribeen carry out other kinds of operations too, including hostage rescues, gathering intelligence, and sometimes capturing or executing terror suspects, all of which are very high risk.
If in the field you are playing not so good, you can die. Your friends can die.
Once found out, the Israeli army dissolves the unit and forms a new one. And while not much is known about this unit or how it's organized, it's believed to consist of 4 or more branches, which work in the various regions of occupied Palestine. A Netflix drama series, Fawda, portrays the Musta'avrim unit and how it carries out these anti-terror operations. So how do the Musta'avrim train to become Arab? Israelis who have more Arab-like features are chosen for the units. But to perfect their disguise as Palestinians, they're rigorously coached for as long as 15 months, including military and counterterrorism training. And 4 of those months are spent learning everything about Arab traditions, language, culture, and tactics, including how to look like an Arab civilian. But how is it that an Israeli successfully learns the art of being Arab in just a few months? You see, Jews and Arabs have a lot in common. Historically, they're cousins. And while Hebrew and Arabic aren't exactly the same,
Hebrew and Arabic are very closely related languages, and if you know one well already, that will help you learn the other much more easily.
So when you think about it, it's possible for an Israeli to become fluent in Arabic and pose as an Arab despite the many intricacies. And vice versa. If trained, an Arab could pose as a Jew. Egypt says it's benefited from its own homegrown spies in the past, those it sent into Israel posing as Jews to gather intelligence and military secrets for Egypt during times of war. So what do you think of Israel's disguise and surprise tactics?